Again, good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, Miss Class.
Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, Miss Class.
Wonderful. Well, today, how many of you all, first of all, I want to ask a question. How many of you all have been watching television, all of a sudden you see like this introduction to a movie that's coming out? You know what I'm talking about? And it looks really exciting. So you say, oh my God, do I want to see it or maybe I just want to wait for the DVD, right? What is that called, Latanya? Nice and loud. A movie what? Someone help Latanya out. It's called a what?
Persuade.
Not quite. It's called a movie. No.
Introduction.
It's kind of like an introduction, but it starts with a P. When you see kind of a glimpse of something before it comes out, it's called a
Preview.
preview. Exactly. Thank you, Gary. It's called a movie preview because you get to glimpse ahead and find out what it's all about to see if you're really interested, right? To see if you don't want to waste your time. Why do I care about the new movie that's coming out? Likewise, when you're reading text, you also want to develop a strategy or a way of previewing the text so you'll know what it's going to be about. There are certain things that we as teachers want you all to keep in mind when you're reading text, okay, to become efficient readers. So today's objective, this is important. I want you to know why I think this is important for you. I will be able to use a consistent strategy to preview text because this will help me comprehend as I read. So I want you to just become good readers. I know all of you all can read, your fluency is strong, but do you really comprehend? Do you understand what you're reading? When you preview it, do you already develop a purpose for your reading? So you'll understand why you do what you do. So I was able to research some strategies that I think that will work for you all as third graders as you're reading. You all just finished taking the ISA, did a whole lot of reading, didn't you? You had to come up with strategies to answer those questions after the passage and so forth. Well, today I've come up with, it's called Thieves. Everyone say thieves.
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 Tell me this. What is the root word for thieves? What is it plural? Plural of what? Thief. Exactly. Now tell me this. Javon, what does a thief do? They steal stuff, right? So I kind of want you, this is the only time I want you to be thieves. I want you to be able to steal information from the text, right? Before you actually read the text, right? That's going to make you an even stronger reader, right? So that's why it's called Thieves. T.H.I.E.V.E.S. Guess why I want you to become thieves? Are you ready? Question? No, sir. It's thieves. T.H.I.E.V.E.S. This is what you call an acronym. Say acronym. Right. The T stands for title. The H stands for headings. The I stands for introduction. The E stands for every first sentence. The V stands for what? Visuals and vocabulary. E stands for end of story, questions. And the S stands for what? Summarize. Summarize. Exactly. Now, why, Miss Flag, would you ever want me to become thieves? Well, I need to come up with a way to help you independently preview text. What if I'm not around? And you're about to be presented with a brand new text, a brand new story. And I want you to be able to preview the text because there's certain objectives to previewing text. Here we go. I want you to activate prior knowledge. Tell me this, Mike, what is activating prior knowledge? What does that mean exactly? When you activate prior knowledge, what are you really doing? Nice and loud. Let's give them some think time. Let's think about it. You know, everybody, maybe a couple of months ago when we were preparing you all, when I'm activating prior knowledge, I'm using what?
Stuff that you already know.
Stuff that I already know. Through your life experiences, you know, whatever you already, what you learned maybe last year, last week, stuff you already know. And it's usually based on your personal experiences. We want you to activate that when you're previewing the text to even make a determination of whether it's going to be interesting to you. My goal is that you know why you're learning what you're learning. Isn't that important, Shakur? Then I want you to set a purpose for reading. Why do I care? Why do I even want to read this stuff, right? If it's not interesting to you, you won't remember it 9 times out of 10. You'll go ahead, you'll do what I asked you to do. You'll read the text, you'll answer the question, then you'll put it away and be done with it. I want you to remember what you learned. That's the whole goal of everything. Got it? All right, last but not least, I'm expecting you to set expectations so that you better understand. It's all about comprehension. All about comprehension. Shakura, tell me, why is it important comprehend what I read? Think about that. When I read, I should kind of comprehend. Another word for comprehend is what? It's okay to get help from Tanya if you want. To understand. My goodness, we want to understand what we read, right? So it's important for your comprehension skills to be really tight. And part of that is learning how to preview text. So let's do this. Let's work together on something maybe a little bit familiar. These are our reading books. We want to go in here and find a nice, interesting story that I think is interesting because of my prior knowledge, right? You'll find out. The name of the story is How Animals Talk. And we'll turn to page 228. 228. And see, Miss Flag said, you know, I think it's interesting. Why? Because I like learning about animals. When I was a little girl, my favorite channel was the Animal Channel, right? I love to look at all the animals, or the lion chasing after the hyena, or what all the different snakes and what's that? Animal Planet, what I say? Animal Channel, Animal Planet. From Miss Flag was watching TV way back when I was your age, right? We had cable. Let's put that away for me, okay? All right, so if you turn to page 228, what is the very first thing T.H.I.E.V.E.S has asked you to do? Somebody tell me. Gary. Yes? Look at the title. That's the first thing that stands out when I pick up a book. I want to do, how many of y'all ever heard of taking a book walk? So this is like taking a book walk. Maybe that's more familiar for you. Except as you become older, you're alone and you're doing hopefully some independent reading at home. And I want you to remember, oh yeah, thieves, because I'm about to steal some information before I have to actually read the information. It's a strategy you're going to take with you for the rest of your academic life. Even Miss Flag needs to know thieves. So I look at the title. So Gary, what's the title? It's right here. How Animals Talk, or How Animals, what did you say earlier? Communicate. So how they talk or how they communicate. So that's the first thing. So I'm going to check that off. Okay, we got that. Check. Then what's the H stand for? I'm going to work with Latanya. Headings. Headings. Now when I say headings, what comes to mind? Help me out. When I say headings, now keep in mind it's okay to turn into the story. When I say headings, what am I looking for now? How do I know that I've come across a heading right here?
It's like, you know, when you take that in the chapter, it's a little big bubble words. It's no.
Well, I heard big bubble words. What's another way of saying that? Michael? Oh, thank you, Michael. They're bold, right? The text is larger, right? It stands out. Big, bold headings. And that gives you a peek into what's what? In the following paragraph, right? So if I'm reading a book about weather, and I want you to have it be more organized, you're going to have a lot of subtitles or headings. I might have one that says hurricanes, another one that might say tornadoes, another subheading or a bold title might be earthquakes. That is a way to organize a chapter, and it's also another way for you to steal information about the book before you actually read it. Very, very good. What's next? Let me go to Latanya. What's next? Oh, I was going to tell you. We got to be fair. Let me go down the road. Come on. Give me something you want. Introduction. Now, we look at page 228. Look at page 228. Now, what about this story do we find out by looking at page 228? We have an introduction. Juwan, tell me, what do I see? It tells me what on page 228? It tells me the genre. What else, Michael? Pretty much a photograph essay. When I say photographs, they're really talking about the what in the story. All the pictures or the big I word. Illustration. So you almost, I particularly need Miss Flag, hands down. I really enjoy stories that have a lot of pictures. Forget me, don't look off. A lot of pictures that help tell the story, right? Because we're talking about what's the name of the book of story again? And so what do you see? You see a lot of animals doing what? They're talking or communicating. Exactly. So the next one after, so I've got the headings. We talked about next I want to continue my book walk. Don't forget, you want to keep focused. If I've already talked about every first sentence, what's next, Michael? Visuals. Very good. Visuals and vocabulary. So if I'm looking at visuals, that means besides the letters or the words on the page, I'm talking about other, what's the word I want to bring out? What else brings your attention toward the story? I already talked about, I'll tell you the visuals in mine, what Ms. Flag would say would be the illustrations, but the vocabulary, how do I know a particular word is special when I page through how animals talk? Michael, finish that up for me. How do I know which words the author wants to stand out?
Because it'll be bold.
Or highlighted. Now in this case, are we looking for bold words or highlighted words?
Highlighted.
In this case, they're what? They're highlighted, Gary. Very good. Now, why are they highlighted though? Who can tell me why they're highlighted? Shakur.
Because they're important.
They're important. Right? And what you can usually find out, we know how our textbook books are usually set up, right? So if I want to find out more about my highlighted words, I can go where to find out more about it? The glossary. And where's the glossary normally? In the back of the book. So that's a good way to say, why is this word important? How is it pertains to the text and so forth? You are on the ball. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Hang in there with me. Now, going back over to Shakur. This one says what? Tell me, Shakur, help me out. I'm going to wait for you. What page should I go to find the end of the story questions for how animals talk? Everyone listen to Shakur. 245. So if I go to 245, I get to see, obviously, these are important ideas that the author wants me to address or to think critically about, right? Because after all, it's called what? Think critically, right? So, I go and look like question number 1 says, what is the main idea of how animals talk? Well, if I do what I think I've taught you all to do before, what is a strategy that I think some of us may use when we know that we have questions that are at the end of a particular story? What do? Do you read the questions before or after?
Before.
Raise your hand if you think before. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now 5. Okay, very good. So yes, I would advise you to read the questions, just peruse them, read them before you read the text. That way, as you're reading, guess what you're doing? When you read the questions before you actually read the text, you're doing what? You doing what? So now you're setting a purpose for reading the text. Does that make sense? So you know, oh, I didn't remember this. Oh, yeah, I didn't think about how they, okay, let me make sure I remember how they communicate as you read the story. So now you have a purpose.
You answered the question because you didn't look at the question.
Say that again, but say it real loud.
You answer the questions while you read.
Right.
Because you didn't look at the question.
Exactly. As you become more mature readers, as you become older, we have this a long word called annotations. You can make little notes on the side. Well, you've heard that word, great. You can make little notations on the side. That way, as you read, you say, oh, I need to remember that. I need to remember that. And I need to remember that. Very, very good. You are experts in this. That's why we're here. Okay, and then S is for Latanya. Summarize. Very good, summarize. And here is where you want to add to that.
Summarize means
Nice and loud.
Summarize means when you look at the pictures, you like, it's like, you tell them what's like happening.
All the main points that happened in the story. Okay, somebody else want to add.
Like, it's like, it's like if you read the story, like you retell the story in a short way.
You can retell the story, but in a what? Shorter way. You want to tell all. You don't want to tell all the supporting details, but all the main details of the story. One more, Latanya.
You remembering what you.
And it's a way of recalling what? What you spit it out. Say it with confidence. What is it? It's a way of doing what? Repeat what you just said. I thought I heard you saying remembering good, remembering what you already read. So it's very good. And that way, you better understand what you've read. So now we previewed it, and then now we're ready to read it, right? After you preview, now you have to read it, right? Now you have, I don't want to be cheap, right? We go through, we do the book walk, we check out all the important words, we look at the questions first, and then we just put it down. No. It's a way of activating your prior knowledge, setting a purpose, and hopefully you piqued your interest. And now you want to learn all about how animals do what? And then the pictures are so wonderful because they give you more of a visual, like we just talked about with Michael, a visual of how animals really look when they are communicating. Like my favorite one is on page 244, where you have the two chimpanzees, and they're doing something going back and forth, but this is their way of what? Communicating. This is how they communicate. Then it shows some other visuals. Here we have the walruses, and they're on the humpback whales. They're on the water, they're doing their thing. It looks like they're kissing, but they're communicating, aren't they? Right? So these are all things that I'm interested in learning more about. Now I have a purpose as I read the text. Now, what I'm going to do for you, let me check off our last one, so we covered all of these. We've stolen quite a bit of information from the text, haven't we? So here I have, I'll call it a cheat sheet. I'm going to get you in trouble with cheating. We're thieves. Oh my gosh. But you know what? You going to tell your mama? Okay. I know your mom very well. So anyway, I want you all to take this handout, because it's going to remind you when this flag is gone around how to steal information before you read the text. We have guidelines here. So you will put your name, don't do it today, not right now, but put your name on top when you're ready to read text that you haven't read before. And it's already set up for you. How do you spell these? T.H.I.E.V.E.S. Very good. So you would go through, and that's where I also give you the guidelines of what the T means what? Title. The H means what? Good. The I means the E means not so fast, Gary. The B means very good. The E means and the S means very good. So once again, you are now what? Thieves. You are able to use a consistent strategy. This is a strategy Ms. Black would like you all to use. If you haven't already been using it, I'm pretty sure you all have had some. You've heard the term book walk. This is a more of a format that I want you to follow. You want to use this strategy to preview the text because this will help you comprehend or understand as you read. Anybody want to add any type of questions or comments? So, tell me, Shakura, now that you know how to be one of our thieves, it says becoming thieves, which is plural for becoming a thief. Now that you know, so when you are given an assignment, yes, and you are told to, tonight for homework, Shakura, I want you to read the story Alice in Wonderland, and I want you to answer 10 questions. What is the first thing you're going to do?
Do I read the questions?
Right, because when you read the questions first, what do?
You read the questions, then you go read the story. So when you read the story, then you go back to the questions, you know that.
Very, very good. That's called setting a purpose for my reading. Exactly. Now, by the time you're done with the T.H.I., the E.V.E., and the S, you're able to know whether you are interested in reading. If you're not interested, there's always a purpose to learning, especially in the school environment. Whether you really like animals or not. I think it's interesting to learn how other people or other species communicate other than just us in the English language. You know, there are people who don't understand what I'm saying. There are people who don't understand the English language. I don't necessarily understand everything there is to know about, let's just say, French. I understand enough about Spanish, probably to decode what they're saying, but there's different ways. We have nonverbal communication. Remember that? So these are all ways I say, well, I know how we communicate. More than likely, animals that have nonverbal and verbal. If you see me sitting like this, you must assume that what? I'm mad about something. That's called nonverbal communication. Right? So you use all that prior knowledge to apply to your reading of how animals talk. All right, so now take the rest of our, I say about 5 minutes before we leave, and start filling in. If you need a pencil, let me know. Start filling in our thieves strategy sheet to help you predict and to preview about our story featured today about how animals talk. And I'll come around.
Also, I'm just like this up in verses 13.
What's that? No, this is a T for what? Title, right? So what do you think you're going to do for number